Sorry. Darned if we don't, darned if we do. We leave it open, you can't, the video is not good. If we close it, then you can't see.
Well, I just wanted to see if anybody was walking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see her in town.
Yeah, she said that Rory had an appointment. She hoped to be here.
No, I saw Lee at the post office this afternoon, so he's around. Lee.
All right, well, at least we got a quorum.
Well, there's Mr. Harris right there. Hey, hang on, got a quorum. He's got a quorum now. Yeah, that's it. Calling, Herlong Public Utility District meeting 5:31. Call to order. Flag salute. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Aaron.
Here. Mr. Witz. Approval of agenda.
The motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, public comment. I only have one public comment, and that's Mr. Kelsey.
Yeah, leave it to me. No, I just had a suggestion that, for quicker access to the fire, building. I lived in Connecticut all my life and I worked in marinas and they had key pass gates. And instead of even looking for a guy getting out of the car and fiddling with his keys and unlocking the gate, maybe we could, spend a little money on a gate where he just ran by, swipe the pass, and it opened before he even got to the gate. So you get in and get out and serve his community. Otherwise, as far as the solid waste removal device, I've had used boat motors and, sometimes it don't work. So going toward a new system would be beneficial, I think, because in businesses I worked in, anything we sold, we had service warranties. You need service warranties. That's a difficult machine. It's under a lot of work. Won't go into that part of it, but it's a machine that gets used quite every day. And parts break. They don't make them like they used to. And getting look around, find somebody who may have a better service warranty, a better product, and the right price, because the people in this town need the utilities to work for them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Jim, on Mr. Kelsey, on the barn itself, it has a keypad. It's just the gate when you first walk in.
Yeah,
And
well, that was a
yeah,
concern.
so
I
that
had.
was-
It's a gate.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Time is of the essence when it comes to fires and emergencies.
Okay, financials. And our filed July 2024 financials check register.
your mileage and your check register and your bank balances. Investment sheets are all in front of you. In June, we paid our loan payments for USDA for both those loans, and then in June, 1st of July, we paid our 12 months of property liability and workers' comp were paid.
How much should we pay in workers' comp?
I want to say it's like 26,000. It's divided up, huh?
And that's for the whole year?
Correct. It's the property liability, vehicle expense. It's the more expensive insurance.
And the workers' comp altogether is 26?
No, just the workers' comp is 26.
But when you did the payroll expenses, that got added in with the payroll expenses, right?
Right. That's why the expenses and the payroll went up, is because of that too.
What was that? I don't know, it works, yeah. What was what did we have to give SDR made this year? For membership fees or insurance or whatever?
Our workers' comp was like 26,000. And I think our property liability, vehicle expense for all the properties we have, all the buildings is close to 90,000 for the year.
That's a lot.
Well, you've got, how many millions in assets that you're insuring?
We have a check that we got out to a Tricia Wood. Something like that was for.
She was our old office manager and she came back and did training on all the fire incident reporting. And because we have to do it online, we do it through, we do 2 different programs. And so she taught staff how to do all the incident reporting because when staff left in December, she helped catch up. She did like 5 months worth of incident reporting, plus came into the office and trained for 4 or 5 hours one day.
Did training.
Correct. Besides doing the 5 months of incident reporting,
Right.
so that with our FEMA.
Good, that's good.
Question.
And what is the specialized utility service program?
That is part of the rate study. That was who we're paying our rate study through. You guys chose them as our contractors for the rate study and we had to pay half up front.
How, I'm sorry, who chose them?
The board?
I don't remember getting an option for the rate study if we were gonna.
Yeah, you had 3 options. We went through it earlier in the year. And Felix spoke up and said he wanted to go with SUSP because it was from California Rural Water and the California Rural Water just really helped us a lot. And actually their rate study contracting was about $10,000 less than the other rate study group. Huh?
What month we that we did? I really don't remember it.
The same meeting you guys picked.
That's in the end, I don't remember the amount.
I thought that we had an issue with the rate study because we increased West Patton Village. So if you do a rate study, you would have to increase everybody in our district's rates, and then that would increase West Patton Village above everybody. So, that's the issue that I brought up, but nobody answered that.
No, this is what you guys. You asked for a rate study because Mr. Flores' big pet peeve was that Circo wasn't paying as much as everybody else was.
Right.
And he wanted to see, and that, I mean, that includes the Fort Sage School District, the Army Depot, Circo, all the community buildings, everything up here other than West Patton Village, the mobile home park. And so we decided, the board decided to do a rate study, and you guys asked me about 6 months ago to get a hold of somebody, well, April. So we talked about it in May, June, and July, the rate study. Because in April, I got information when I went to the California Rural Water, when Royce and Dustin and I went up for the day for the California Rural Water Conference. And took a couple classes, and I got names that could do that, and then I had them do give us, we had 3 options, and you guys decided on option with the SUSP for the rate study. And so we're supposed to, they've been gathering information for the last 60 days so that they can start putting stuff together and come back with questions. So we're supposed to have a conference call with them hopefully sometime next week with where they're at and what else they need so that they can present to the board later in the year.
So you're gonna have a conference call with them?
I'm they're gonna ask for hopefully more information or whatever they need at that point. I'm trying to find out where they're at. Cause I've given them, we just had done the master plan, which was a huge help because I'd gotten all the information for Owen for the master plan. But then they wanted more information on, everybody's billing and different, in fact, I think I gave some of the information Owen also supplied to them already, but I don't know where they're at. I don't know if they're, what kind of questions they're gonna come back with, if it's just all financial they wanna know, or if it's more information for Royce and I to come up with for the plant. But they're supposed to have a list together and ask questions, and give that to me hopefully next week. So that I can bring it back to the board and find out what else you guys want to add to it or adjust.
So,
Jim,
yeah,
so I don't hear everything, so there's no answer on it, is that what you're saying? Yeah.
They're still in the middle of putting it together.
Hmm?
They're still in the middle of putting together the rate study. They're still gathering information.
Food sanitation, did we get training with them? Is that what we?
Nope, that's a monthly bill for the porta potty at the fire barn.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, we got one of those in our area too also. And the CPEC engineering, we refunded them money?
They had 4 units in Serco. And they overpaid when they moved out their last unit. So I don't believe it was very much money. We just refunded them their balance on their account when they moved out.
Oh,
It'd be just like if you moved out of Serco and had money on your account.
right, except for it's a business, that's what's for me, but it's obviously they have contracting people in there. Those are my only questions.
I have a motion to accept the financial.
I motion to accept the financials.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's
I didn't have any questions on that. Okay.
You put that little, little blurb in there. This is not the time that we have to ask much, it will not into approve and make changes to the written document in your possession.
It's the Brown Act, so it's just reminding you.
We can discuss the minutes.
You can add or delete the minutes or make changes to the minutes, but it's not the time to bring up and rehash. You know, even going on about the rate study, it could have been brought up later. I have it in my GM report. It's out of order. You need to keep with the Brown Act, keep it in order.
Say all favor. That's fine.
So we had 10 calls in July, 8 were medical, 2 were fire. One of the fire was in Doyle and we were canceled en route. And the other was a burning barrel fire that BLM handled. Thursday, there's a fire chiefs meeting, and then in September, there's an officers meeting. So I hope to get more information from the other chiefs on the fitness policy. Unfortunately, Enosh resigned this week from our volunteer fire department with his responsibilities and preparing to be a new husband. He doesn't feel that he has time to volunteer at this time. And I just put in there, like we had talked last time, plan for a community meeting or recruitment. Any suggestions? Medical Tuesday is tonight, so hopefully, I think 3 out of the 4 volunteers are going to it tonight.
So you see 3 out of 4 volunteers? Are the 4 volunteers all coming to training now? And because the last time we spoke, they weren't really coming to training, they're coming to.
I have a meeting set for September 4th for our September meeting, so I hope to find out more. I got a phone call from Patricia, and it's her and her son, and she was wanting to go to the classes at the college, and I said, you haven't participated in over 4 months. I really need to know whether you guys are going to be part of the fire department, you know, before we continue to pay for training and not showing up. There were several reasons at that point that she gave me, so I hope to talk to her a little more. And then Mike said that Hunter didn't realize with him working out at the depot that he could also be a volunteer. So Hunter was going to try to participate more now too. So hopefully we can have a meeting. Usually I like to do them in the morning, but it sounds like if they're working on depot, I might have to do it at 5 or 6 o'clock on the 4th so that we can try to get everybody around, find out what their commitments are. Unfortunately, Hunter and Mike are the only 2 that are qualified for medical. The other 2 have not taken any medical classes. They've taken a couple of fire classes. So that was the other thing I wanted to narrow down with the other 2 volunteers, was if they really wanted to volunteer, then they need to commit to a CPR or first aid class.
how many, so when we go out to these calls, we go out with Sierra on the depot at the same time?
If there are calls, so actually we would be the lead. So we should be the first one there, and then Sierra Army Depot, because of mutual aid, would follow. But Mike pretty much has been taking all the calls the last 2 or 3 months by himself. Enosh before was helping quite a bit with the medicals, so that's,
with Sierra on depot or Sierra not, didn't they respond?
they have been responding. In fact, Mike was excited because I believe this Saturday, Vance from the Army Depot has been trying to get us to participate and do some trainings together. And I guess they've invited our crew to actually do a training like this Saturday with them on Depot. So hoping that works out, and I'm hoping, Mike was hoping that if these other two came to the meeting, to the Medical Tuesday at Janesville with him, that they would hopefully come Saturday with him too.
Okay.
So we're trying to press forward. It's just trying to, they're volunteers, so it's people's time on what time they can give. And that's why I had tried to encourage Enosh. I know he had a lot on his plate, but that he was a volunteer, and that even if he showed up to one a month, or, it would be appreciative, but he felt like he had other things on his plate right now that he really didn't feel like he could help. So.
And then I noticed, I went to one of the calls with the medical, only not because I was called by any of them, but because the actual patient called. They were denied, all it did was, hurt a foot really severely, but they were talking about it doing an ambulance. And so I got called to take him to the by him. And, I must say that the ones that were in charge of that were really Sierra Army Depot. They were the ones that were doing everything, filling out all the paperwork, doing all the talking, so that's why I was wondering about the other calls and if Sierra was on those also.
Sierra tries to respond as much as they can. I think, being firefighters, they get kind of bored on base, and they always enjoy getting off base. So it's kind of nice that they can respond, but if there's anything, as priority, if there's anything that happens on base, then they don't respond out off base.
And you mentioned last month about doing a background check. Can we add that to the next agenda to vote on?
For firefighters? Sure.
And then I saw the letter that you have, that you say that is attached to the reimbursements. Have our guys done any of this stuff so that we could get reimbursed for them being a part of this?
No,
Okay.
it was just a letter that we got from CAL FIRE letting us know, because they did ask us during the park fire for our engine, but our response has always been, if we don't have enough, if we can't leave 3 people here, we're not taking 3 people away so that our district is covered.
Oh, okay.
And at that point, when they asked for our engine and a crew, all we had was Mike that was available.
Oh,
So, but that is, if we ever could get up to 6 to 10 firefighters, and we could actually send a crew out, because we could leave a crew here with the structure fire and send the brush truck out, because they asked for a 5 or 6 truck. We could keep the structure truck here, but unfortunately,
that was all.
And
That was all I had.
I'm good.
so you wanna hire a part-time fire chief?
no, just put it on suggestions. You had talked about planning a meeting or recruitment. I was just trying to throw things out there so that we could start. Until yesterday, I really didn't think we had nobody but Mike. And then all of a sudden in 24 hours, now I possibly have 4 firefighters again. So it's, just trying to keep things, afloat, yeah. Or like you had mentioned last meeting, you talked about a community meeting or a recruitment. Whether you guys want to set a date to do a recruitment or, do something that way.
Yeah, I do have a question. On that, Jim?
Jim?
Yes.
Mary? Yeah. Long time ago, I was here, and there was a conversation, now that we have a new system in Herlong Village, in the Patton Village area, that we were going to possibly flush the fire hydrants to make sure that they weren't backed up with residuals or anything like that. I mean, I don't have sand coming into my sink, but there was mention of that at one point, and as Sandy said, it might be good practice for the firefighters to engage the fire hydrant. Practice.
So we did flush everything during the project, so everything was flushed. And Owen is actually, I just asked Owen because Sierra had asked too where our new fire hydrants are, because we actually got with 3 in West Patton or in Hillcrest Mountain View, and then added 3 more in
Hillcrest.
West Patton Village. We added 3 more in West Patton Village, and we moved 3 or 4 into different locations so that each street has 2 plus, or each street has 1 plus 2 in the end. So Owen's working on getting the fire hydrant drawing so that Sierra knows exactly where all the fire hydrants are. And they're again for us to keep in our trucks, in case we get somebody that's not.
I haven't been here in a while.
Oh, no, thank you. But yes, that's something that on an annual basis that we usually flush, and Mike was asking too, but it's something that usually our operating crew would do.
We shouldn't be getting any sand in there in our hydrants
No, we
either,
shouldn't.
because that was happening because we were getting our water from the depot. And when it would fill up our fire hydrant line, and then the depot was responsible for pressure checking all our depot, all our fire hydrants. And they said they wouldn't do it because it messed up their pumps. Yeah. So now that we have the system and we put a new system in, there shouldn't be a sand issue anymore. Okay, Mr. Dodd, you're up.
Oh.
Come on, this is a gentle tonight.
So, Sandy reached out to me a couple months ago regarding the belt test at the wastewater plant, which is showing signs of its age. I think that I purchased it a couple years back from Boomtown Casino, at quite a discount. Currently now, parts are becoming harder to find, mobile and equipment out there. It's certainly not the equipment we want out of service for that. We find that the experience, go longer than that.
Last board meeting, we were really having difficulties, so
Yeah.
probably about a month ago.
Without this piece of equipment, we're not able to dispose of the sludge to the landfill. Belong to the opposite. So this proposal that we have drafted out is to replace the piece of equipment with a newer, more robust design with more really built equipment. We're trying to do it as cost effective as possible. So reached out to the manufacturers of our.
So what's in front of you? I had talked to President Switzerus when this came right, like the day after the board meeting. I had told the board, informed the board that I thought this project would cost between 3 to 500,000 and, what it was. If the sludge press would go down and we didn't have it, we're talking, a $10,000 move on and move off plus $40,000 a month to get the sludge out. Which if we had to do several months like that, it would add up pretty fast. So we were better off to try to prevent that and move forward, and the board agreed and blessed that. So when I talked to Director Fisherwith, he okayed for me to sign Shaw Engineering's contract to move this forward. And I'm just asking for the board to ratify that decision tonight.
Put it out for proposal for anybody else other than Tom, or we do that.
They also, I think one of the reasons why we went to them also is because they are the ones that did that master plan, and this was one of the items that was in the master plan.
That's the proposal. I thought that will be discussed last year.
This is it. Shaw Engineering is our contractor, is our engineers. So we will, once we have a project, we will go out to bid.
Oh, it's yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
The younger, better looking version in Paul's here. I've asked him questions, you know.
So what's in front of you tonight is the contract to ratify the contract for Shaw Engineering. So that they can put together the design and the drawings, so we can go out to bid for this item.
I already read it, I already liked it, I want you to approve.
So, what do we need to vote on this?
Yeah, so Aaron made a motion to
Okay.
approve the ratification. You need a second and a vote.
You got anything before I say a second? I said, do you have anything to add?
No,
Okay.
so you made the motion, I'll second it.
Yes.
All in favor,
Uh,
all opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Owen. The next item on the agenda, so we'll go into a hearing at 6:04. And this is back to like 4 years ago when we put together a policy that, so we could collect on our fire taxes, once we brought them in-house. And other than, I believe, Mr. Mitchell, the item, the pages in front of you are everybody that would be putting liens on for this year and last year for fire taxes that have not paid. If there anybody, I guess, in the audience that opposes of the fire tax on their, I don't think anybody here has not paid.
Once you guys agree, I paid 3 times.
That was crazy.
I think they paid us.
Yeah,
How much would it raise it?
we're not raising anything. All I'm asking for, this is a hearing just to, we put the liens on these properties that have not paid. And nobody here has, we don't have anybody here that has not paid. So I don't see any objections, but I need the board to approve putting the liens on those properties.
That would be a voice vote.
Yes,
that can be a what?
A voice vote.
it'd be a roll call vote for the, because it's a hearing.
Okay. Do I have a motion? For the fire tax lien?
It's in your policy and procedures that the board has approved. And without this, we cannot get reimbursed for this. By putting liens on these people's property, that way if they go to sell it, we get paid. If we don't put a lien on it, there's no guarantee that we'll ever collect the money from those places. Which we have collected quite a bit of money every time we put a lien when these people have sold houses. And usually it's and if you look, there's one whole page of one of our wonderful people who has lots of property in this thing. So it has helped, believe it or not, it has helped get the money from him in his sales.
Oh, I bet.
Somebody has to make a motion. And then when it comes time for the vote, you vote. So we have to have a motion. All right, I'll make a motion for the fire tax. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Okay.
So it's 2-1.
Yeah.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Doesn't it have to have a quorum?
It is a quorum, and 2-1 is a quorum. So you have 2 people against 1.
Right. but you
That's-
have to have all three
No,
to be able to pass.
no,
It's a quorum of the people that are there.
it's a majority vote. The majority of the quorum.
That's why you have it. One. You
And
have to have three.
Well, a quorum is the bare minimum.
Right.
I could have sworn that it had to be all three.
No, it's
A quorum of the quorum.
I'm sorry, that-
Only if there's 5. It's just, if you got an odd number and majority vote, that's your.
And that's not how we did it on the other board under the ground rules, so.
From my perspective, I don't know why you wouldn't, because all you're doing.
I don't really care what your perspective is,
Telling the
Todd.
people that
I
have
just
paid
really
it.
want you to shut up right now.
Can I ask a question?
yes.
Policy 3042.
Wait,
Well,
Jim,
Jim,
Huh,
can I ask a question?
sure.
I'm curious, Aaron,
I
why,
don't care.
why you don't want to do it or like to do it, or, I mean, what's your reasoning? I'm just curious.
I don't have to tell you my reason.
I know you don't have to, I'm just asking.
I know.
Okay.
so we'll shut the hearing down at 6:08. And go on with policy 3042. So Jim, you had asked for this. Our attorney, after I had sent you the first one and highlighted it, he sent me another one Friday morning that he thought was a little bit better draft, or Thursday night. So I kept the highlighted one in there with his changes and then added his new version for you guys that he had suggested. He thought covered all the contracts for you. Says he added a provision whereby the board would establish the criteria of a project by project basis, which he thought was a better way to put that in the policy. So in 1.3 talks about the adoption of the statement of works, form of securities.
Okay, so 3042.1.1.3. It says board of directors shall adopt statement of work plans and straight sheets and working details. And shall advertise for bid for this. So we adopt the statement of work.
Right, the board of directors shall
Yeah.
adopt,
So who completes the statement of work?
well, I assume that would be,
Who puts the statement of work out?
well, depends on what it is. If it was something like what Owen's doing for this project, it would be up to our engineers. If it's something that the board and myself were working on, we'd work on it jointly together so that we were satisfied what the statement of work would be.
And so if it's beyond our scope of doing something, engineering, say if we want to put out a statement of work for a firehouse. I mean, that requires a lot of detailed work. And we're not able to do that. Are you able to do that?
I would say we'd get the engineer or an architect to put
Yeah,
it
so you would
together.
have to,
You'd
so we would,
hire a professional to do it.
right. So,
You're thinking you want to add that word in there?
yeah.
Well, basically, because it says that,
Actually, I would leave the board of directors out of it, but whatever, say we need go back to the firehouse. If we need a firehouse, we hire somebody to do the statement of work on what we want. We give them basically what we want, and they do the statement of work, and then we put it out for bid.
well, but what this is saying is that you as a board would adopt that statement of work. It doesn't say who's doing the statement of work. It just says that you as the board would adopt it, which would happen even if we had the engineers like we did on the last project. When Paul got done with West Patton Village, you as a board adopted those plans. And if we did a firehouse, even if we had an architect do it, you as a board would still adopt those plans to go out to bid. And that's what this is just stating, as the board of directors shall adopt a statement of work. It doesn't say who's doing the statement of work. It just says that you guys will adopt a statement of work.
Okay.
Better. Better with bed, with maybe another project, but it just means that it has to go to the board no matter what. No matter whether I did a statement of work or Owen did a statement of work or Eric did a statement of work, it would have to go to the board before it was approved.
Okay, and then, on the last one, 3042.3 on.
3 or 3.1?
Pardon?
3 or 3.1, the very last page or the last paragraph of the second one?
3042.3, very last one. Almost last page.
Okay.
Um. I think on that, we should just put it out for bid, whoever gets it, bids on it, gets it, but I don't think we should, separate them from other people or other bidders. I think they should all bid at once, for the same thing.
Well, they all would bid at the same thing. This is when we were talking about if a Lassen County, if a Herlong person bid and they bid 20% more than the other 5 bids, we could still take them.
Yeah, I just don't. Part of this is a special district Alaska County and Susanville don't give us anything. I mean, why do we want to adopt a Alaska County policy? To hire people in Susanville because somebody's friends with them or, that's what, that opens that door. Somebody knows somebody. That's the way I feel. So I think that part should be taken out. And just, that should not be part of our policy.
So 0.3 and 3.1 then too, exception to local preferences. Correct?
Yes.
So then it's whether you want me to bring it back again or whether the board would like to move this, approving this forward, deleting 3042.3 and 3042.31.
B on that, contracts that under emergency or non-competitive situation. Emergency would be like if we had a fire out there, that some of, buildings or whatever, we could put that out without the non-competitive. Correct?
Correct. So maybe you want to leave 3.1 and just take out 3.3.
Pardon?
So maybe leave that whole section and just take out the 3042.3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're taking out we're keeping we're taking out the last three lines of 0.3. And we're keeping the 3.2,
No,
but taking out the 3.1.
we're taking out totally 3042.3.
That paragraph
Everything
Yeah.
else.
and leave everything else as is.
So one of these is going to be over
Oh, okay.
something like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I was good with the policy. I understand your preference for, 0.3 being out, but, and I'll go along with that, but I didn't have a problem with it.
All in favor?
Oh, well, I motion to approve this. With,
Yeah.
304.2.3 taken out, that one paragraph removed.
We don't need a motion.
Yes, we do.
Do we?
Yeah. Need a motion to accept this policy and we're asking, and like you said, we're making that correction to it.
Oh, with the correction, okay.
Right.
Yes, with the correction.
Okay, I'm not going to repeat the correction.
There you go. Lee, do we have a second?
All in favor?
I said that.
Motion.
Thank
I
you.
did.
Okay, you second. I thought I was talking about that. All in favor of approving policy number 3042 with changes? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No.
Policy 2330.6. So a couple months ago, when we were looking at COLAs and incentive pay, the board asked for me to look in what other places in our area was doing. So I listed what Syad, Chester, Groveland, Susanville, Indian Valley, FCI Herlong is doing in our area. Put a sample of Syad's summary and the ranking and how they do the percentage. Maybe John knows that one more, but I would say Syad gives incentives annual basis on annual reviews, point system, scale 1 to 5. Bonuses are awarded to the scales ranging from 3.1 to 4.2 and 4.3 to 5. It looks like it's a 3 to 4% incentive for Syad plus their employee appreciation. Chester PUD is union rules. Groveland CSDA pays annual merits, annual COLAs, and will match up to $5,000 annually to their 457 plan. Each one of these are a little bit different. Right now, I mean, competitive in our area at the Sierra Alliance meeting, Mrs. Vanessa Vasquez spoke up and said that they're offering $25,000 sign-on bonus plus an additional 40 hours of personal time if they start at the prison. That's how much they want to get employees out there. Again, this was based on individuals' reviews, and it was just a way to keep incentive to keep employees. So we're still back to whether to.
Yeah, but it's definitely, if you get a 4.3 to a 5, that doesn't mean automatically you're gonna get a 4% bonus.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's a true story. So
Is
they're-
that
they're-
new?
Probably 3, maybe 4 years ago, they
Okay.
decided to actually follow the Department of the Army policy. We weren't doing that before, we were just kind of random giving who we wanted, what we wanted.
Yeah.
So then they started going by the policy, and there's actual guidelines with the new rating system where if you get like a 3 to a 4.3 or whatever, then it's this set amount. If you get a 4.3 to a 5, it's this set amount, and everybody gets the same depending on what you rate.
Which is different than a 5%. It's much less than a 5%.
Absolutely, I think it's 4.
It looks like it's 3 to 4%.
Yeah,
It was $800 for a 5. And then $600 for
No,
a 3.
before it was, when it was.
before, it's not now.
No, the numbers I'm talking about, when I left in 22, that's what it was.
I can tell you that that's not how it is. Somebody that's making $70,000 is getting $2,800 to $3,200 in bonus. So just saying. So it's 3 to 4% set.
And that was to just have been in the last 1 or 2 years, 20 years before.
So
The last one I got was directly after I quit.
So this is again, the board's decision to approve or deny the incentive pay. And if they approve this incentive pay, at what percent? for 2 employees. And both employees got a 4.2 to a 4.5 or 4.1 to a 4.5. So,
But isn't one, or we only have one employee currently, the other one's not with us? anymore?
right, it would be Royce and myself are the
Yeah.
only 2 that are eligible from last year.
As we discussed last time, and part of the reason that it didn't pass last time, because it didn't pass, was, I think it would have, passed easier if it had just been Royce, and Dustin, but Dustin's not allowed with us anymore. So, I'm gonna motion to, approve this with the caveat that it is, only one employee for this last year, and it would be Royce. And that we can, if we go without it, we're gonna do it. Did I speak too low, Jim?
So in 23.06,
Did I speak too low, Jim? Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, you just give Royce, incentive.
so the,
How much?
according,
5%,
5%?
yes.
according to your policy, it's you guys giving me permission to give incentive pays, and then it's you guys deciding whether I'm eligible for an incentive pay.
So actually what we're voting on is annual percentage.
Yes. And an incentive for the,
And
for his eval,
that would be 5%.
yes.
No, all I see is money going out. And overhead. That we're spending money on, but we got money coming in, other than that. Customers we have now. So.
So you'd asked for me to do, you had asked for me to do a,
Fire department. 64, we get 64, or roughly $64,000 a year. And that all goes out to overhead.
Well, actually, we have named the thing in regards to the fire department part. And we're not having the same support as what that money is supposed to be bringing in.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be,
And we're not supposed to be a for-profit district.
right.
And yet, the ideology I'm hearing is a for-profit district.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff we need for that fire department that we should be buying, but we're not. Because when they go out on the fire and they gotta use the 2.5-inch hose, and then after the fire, they gotta clean it, we have nothing, no cleaning rack.
so,
We have no drying rack.
so point of order here, we're not talking about the fire department,
no,
we're
we're
talking
not.
about the utilities. This is only on water and sewer.
Okay,
Employees, this is not a fire department.
all right.
Fire department's
I'm
separate.
just saying, you know, okay, do I have a motion?
Okay, so the motion is to give approval to Cindy to give Roy,
No. You-
that was the verbiage that she just said, that the actual policy said.
I thought you said we're just voting on the policy of 5%, and you have the authority to give Royce the 5%. We don't need to give you that authority, do we?
In policy 2330.6, performance evaluations, an employee will be considered for incentive pay if they complete goals agreed upon during the employee's annual performance evaluation. And this is why you guys asked me to find out what all these other people got. And I'm telling you that I brought back to the board that what the other benefits are. from other places. And our evals were in that range that John's talking about, both the evals. And then it says performance evaluation employee will be considered for an incentive pay if they complete goals upon the employee's annual performance evaluation. The general manager will determine eligibility of each employee, and the board of directors will determine the eligibility of the general manager. Approval of any incentive pay will be considered and approved annually by the board of directors. And it talks about the 1 to 3%.
I know.
1 to
we're at the
5%.
motion. I wanna know, because she said something about giving Royce a 5%, and then you said it's up to you to give Royce 5% if we vote on it, and then it's up to us to give you 5%. That's what I'm questioning.
Correct.
So the motion should be, do we accept this policy of 5%?
No, it's one, first you have to, one is give me the authority to give my employees incentive
You've
pay.
already always had the,
No, according to this policy, you have to approve that I can give my employees incentive pay. And according to this policy, you have to agree to my incentive pay, and you have to agree each year annually between 1 and 5% if you're going to give that permission.
The first, I motion to give approval to give away the incentive pay for his last evaluation.
favor?
I. Second motion, I motion to approve that it is a full 5% to be the incentive.
Now we have 3 more.
No, that was just two. The other motion was for, like, I think that's the impression throughout.
Okay. All in favor?
Did you second?
I second. All in favor? All opposed? Well,
That is not
GM
even
report.
close to it.
The Sierra Alliance was held August 21st with Congressman Doug LaMalfa here, was in attendance. We had a packed house. We were pretty much standing room only. LaMalfa was very supportive with the Sierra Alliance and the 395 coalition. He's trying to help out South County as much as can happen. Tribal personnel was actually here and stated that when the community needs the mods, that they would move forward with updating them for rent. Brandon from Brian Deli's office was in attendance. There was several people that have businesses with Amity Field were here. We had quite a few. It was a pretty productive meeting per se. Update on the elections for 2025. We won't be on the ballot because only 2 people ran, so automatically in January 1st, Aaron, congratulations. Aaron,
I wanted to see votes.
no, it's saving us $5,000 because we're not on the ballot. So
Here, I
if
saved you most of the 5%.
So if there was 3 people running, it would have went to a ballot vote and it would have cost the district around $5,000 for our portion of the ballots. Because there's only 2 people that took out and got signed. We won't be on the ballot. So in January, we will seat Aaron and Sherry Kessler. So they'll both be on the board starting January 1st.
Just saying.
So update on hiring a utility worker. We interviewed, 3 gentlemen last week, and Royce and Ken Mallory didn't. None of them seemed to be what they were looking for. So all of the ads will expire at the end of the month. It's pretty disappointing because we advertised in California Rural Water, we advertised in American Water Works, we advertised in CSDA, we advertised in Lassen. Or on our website, our newsletter. And actually, the one person that was from Herlong actually seen it on American Water Works that applied. None of the gentlemen had any licensing or any water and sewer experiences. But I was very impressed that all of them literally were in their 40s and willing to take on a shitty job for benefits. So,
Wow.
so I, you know, they've all, it's, you know,
It's the job.
it's a hard job, and it's not the best smelling, needless to say, so. Verdict's still out whether we will hire any of those 3 or whether we will repost or possibly do a call back and ask a couple more specific questions, because my other 2 interviewees were not impressed. So the rate study we talked about earlier, I tried to get an update and he said he would call me next week, do a conference call to find out what other information we need. So I'm waiting on that. I will be out of the office September 8th through the 13th for the CSDA, SDMRMA, and SDLF conference. And the next board meeting is Tuesday, September 24th. And there's something to think about for next board meeting. The November board meeting is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So we may want to cancel it or change the date on that. But that's something we can talk about next board meeting.
We're on to Tuesday.
That's a holiday week.
Yeah, some of us might not be there.
So that's all I have.
So, I did wanna do, I mean, I know usually the directors don't say anything, but I was hoping to, ask for to be put on, the agenda for next time, that we vote in regards to, keeping the Zoom recordings that we do a vote on it. I'm also hoping that, we can discuss about doing a special meeting, that is a public meeting, so that we could, and this is something that was, but so that we could talk to the, attorney about certain questions and specific issues we have that we want to talk and ask them questions about. I think it was desired to have it as a public meeting instead of, doing a meeting with him privately to communicate. I wasn't really sure why, but I'd like that to be on the, agenda so we could vote on it.
So I'm sorry. Can you, you, as directors, you guys can call the attorney anytime because he works for you. So I'm not understanding what you're asking for.
I don't understand that.
In regards to doing a special public meeting to, talk with the attorney
Yeah,
that we had. that it had to be voted on to do this special thing, or that we,
Do you want to just add it to next month's agenda?
she was just saying that we can call the attorney anytime we want.
And I was gonna ask you to put him on the agenda.
That was why I brought it up, but she said that we can call him.
You can call him anytime, Jim.
Oh, fine.
Okay, which would not be a public meeting then.
If you have specific questions, you can call and talk to him directly. And if you can do two of you, just can't have a quorum. So if you and Aaron wanted to be in the room at the same time, you could, or you and Lee, but you couldn't have three of you for a quorum, because then it would have to be a board meeting.
And it would also violate grammar.
Yeah, I have a problem with that.
Okay. And then, I was also, hoping that, could one of us board member, when we go to do interviews again, can one of the board members be involved in the interviews that you would do with the employees? That is usually,
That is my job.
it is.
Yeah, I'm your only employee.
No, but it is also, it is, not uncommon to have at least one board member be an interviewer. And help out, I mean, like you have Royce as an interviewer, it's not uncommon to have a board member there.
I have Royce and I have our contract operator. So we have two people that know what the job entails.
I would say, you know,
So,
so you please have a board member for whatever the job happens to be in the interviewing for an employee.
we could do a policy. I mean, you guys do policies and procedures, so you can make it a policy and micromanage.
No,
That.
it's not micromanaging.
It
This
is-
is where, no, this is where it's team. it's
It is,
working
that's
as a
why-
team.
That's why you have a gym.
Okay, right, but even with the general manager. you work
That's
as
why
a
I've always
team.
had an outside person, somebody that's not a board member, somebody that's not part of it.
Team, T-E-A-M, team. I mean, you still have somebody in charge even when there's a team coming together.
So you want it on the next board meeting to agendize or add a policy so that you guys can interview any position.
Be involved with the interview, not be the sole one, not be the one who makes the final decision. Not the dictator, coming together with different viewpoints.
Okay, something, if it's your, run it past the attorney and put it on the agenda as you both make it specific.
That's sad. It is because it takes.
It's sad that I got a 4.2 and you didn't give me an incentive. You want to be sad. So let's move forward and adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Jim.
All in favor? Aye.
I'm losing it. Definitely losing it.